All right, you're asking for it, so here it is. Listen to this.
I want you folks laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, all that.
All right, welcome to the 123rd episode of the Drinking Partners Podcast. This is by far my favorite because this is our LeBron James episode. LeBron James, and as you know, I am a Cleveland native, and we are in the midst of whipping the hell out of the Celtics, so I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling great. People have been debating whether or not LeBron James is better than Jordan. I don't care because we ain't never had nothing that great in my city, so... Not only is our team good, the economy's on the up and come, so I'm feeling real good. I am half of the hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I am not joined as normal with my co-host Dave Bracey, but I will go ahead and do the rundown as Dave Bracey because let me tell you something. I've been 123 episodes in. I have been waiting to have this studio to myself. All right, like I've been waiting. Like Dave's out, he's out vacationing. Fine, I'm gonna take over the show. It's gonna be a me and Epicast day after this. But nah, shout out to my brother, man, Dave Bracey. That's my guy. And if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. 123 episodes. We've been asking for the same thing, rate reviews. We're going to log on iTunes, and that's how you let people know what we're doing well. That's how we know what we're doing well, and that's how we continue to do well. Yes, please go on iTunes, rate review. I kind of killed that, man. Fuzzy's in the building. He's smiling. I more sounded like the Allstate man, but it was still, I put the treble on, the deepness on for Dave Bracey. Shout out to Dave Bracey. But yeah, hit us up on the internet. Hit us up on iTunes, rate and review, so we know what's going on. That's, you love us. When you see us in public, you tell us you love us. Now just at the click of a button, tell the internet. Just real quick, I want to definitely take a chance or take a moment to shout out everybody who supported me in my first headlining night at the Pittsburgh Improv. It was Wednesday, May 17th. We were a little, it was crazy. Like the turnout was a little overwhelming, especially considering that Chris Rock was in town. The Penguins had a playoff game. So I, just never know what to expect, but people, they showed up and showed out for your boy, and I appreciate it. And not just the people who supported me, the individuals are part of the show. T-Rowe, we had Samantha Bentley, we had young Izzy doing a guest set, and we had Terry Jones. They brought the house down, man. It was a great show. The supporters, the support was overwhelming. I just appreciate everybody who came out, everybody who retweeted, everybody who just, was just happy to see me up, man. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be doing what I love. And I'm very happy to be sitting here with our guest today, drinking these beers. But if you like the way we sound, all right, I got to shout out the Epicast crew, man. If you're looking to get your podcast to sound better, maybe you want to start your own podcast, you need help promoting an event, or want to advertise your project on an award-winning podcast. Yes, I wouldn't be, Dave's partner if I didn't mention that we were award-winning, because Dave always wants to throw that into the podcast. So we did win Best Podcast in the city of Pittsburgh, and it's in no small part thanks to the Epicast Network. So if you're looking to start a podcast, promote an event, do anything where you kind of got to get out there on the social media sphere, if you need something engineered, hit up Epicast and go to epicastnetwork.com/services, fill out the form, and tell them the Drinking Partner sent you. Yeah, tell them we referred you, and it may be a little something in there for you. So shout out to Epicast. So they're making us sound good, and these two gentlemen here are making me feel good. But I got to let you know some events that are coming up. So this Saturday, June 3rd, we have Comedy Battles and Brews at Wall Street Brewing starting at 6 p.m. So we have Brandon Shell, Samantha Bentley, Ian McIntosh, John Dick Winters, and we have the headliner, Jeff Conkle, my boy, slanging the jokes. We got a Pittsburgh taco truck passing out food, and it's hosted by my co-host, Dave Bracey. There's not a better $10 you're going to spend, because you get to heckle the comedian. So you don't just have to come and listen to comedy. You can come be a part of the show. And I know a lot of people out here listening, they always in the back of their mind, they always want to be a little bit part of a comedy show. They always felt like they were funny. This is your chance. We have our Epic Night of Comedy. We're back downtown Bricolage on June 17th. Doors open at 7:30. It's going to be sponsored by Brooklyn Brewery. We have Lorenzo De Silvo, Ozia Dwyer, Ray's Watney, and headliner Sean Collier from DVE. Tickets are $12 in advance, $15 at the door. You want to go to www.purplepass.com/BYOB to get your tickets. Hurry up and say something funny. June 15th at Apis Meadery. Jeff Conkle, Sean Collier, Terry Jones, Razor Watney, Blair Parker, Harry Gilliland on that show. So look for tickets there. Day and I will be a part of the DVE Comedy Festival this year on June 23rd. DVE Loaded Show at Club Cafe on June 23rd. We're back at Contra Theater June 24th. And we got something that we got to let you. We got a big show July 28th and 29th. We're bringing in Mike Kaplan to Contra Theater. It's going to be sponsored by Apis Meadery and Rheingeist. We got myself, Day, Sean Collier, T-Robe, and obviously headliner Mike Kaplan. Go to contratheater.ticketleap.com to get your tickets. We bringing in national headliners into the city, so we're feeling good about our list of events, the host of events we have coming up. So again, check us out on social media or check out the websites to get the tickets that I mentioned. This is a lot tougher than I thought it would be because it's just me talking. So now we're going to bring somebody else in. They are fueling this podcast, and I am very happy to be sitting here with these two gentlemen, Bob McCafferty and JD Longo from North Country Brewing. Say what up to the people.
Hi, everybody.
How's it going? Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And nobody will hear what just happened, so don't worry. This is why you have a partner, and I'm sure you guys understand partnership better than anyone here. North Country, very good, very good. I'm enjoying this, and I'm looking at this lineup here, and I'm very, very, very excited. Although I have to limit.
It's beer 30 too. Yeah.
It is beer. Well, it's always beer 30.
Right.
Or beer 45.
I had a great coffee at Black Forge, but I'm ready for a beer now. Yeah.
Shout out to Black Forge. Do coffee and beer, do they go hand in hand? I'm not a big coffee drinker.
Yeah, I got two hands, one in each.
So you double fisting, but not the way that people normally would think of it. That's awesome. That's awesome. So North Country out in Slippery Rock. How did it get started? Like, were you home brewer?
Yeah, it had a twisted path actually. To get through chemistry was a pretty tough class, but I was good at labs, so started brewing. To make the class more interesting. I was always a gardener and liked canning and pickling and everything. So fermentation, was the next step. So way back, and I always was a fan of beer, but always ran out of beer. So brewing was definitely, it just needed bigger tanks and better setups, and yeah. We asked all the brewers like how they got into it. Nobody ever said, "Listen, I used to run out of beer, and I had to figure out a way where that wasn't gonna happen again." So while I was drinking beer, I was making my next batch. Right. That's a smart guy, man. A lot of people have the chemistry background as well. I'm kind of jealous because I didn't take that class serious. I thought everybody. I wouldn't have passed it if I didn't brew.
I thought everybody in chemistry was trying to be a doctor, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm like, let me just get a passing grade. Meanwhile, I could be getting people libated, as I like to say.
Right.
So your position, Bob, you're the head brewer.
Actually, no, I'm. I don't get to brew in our system at all. Actually, we have a master brewer. Yeah, just the way the thing progressed. North Country bartended through college and got through college and was in the field for a while. Got a little tired of traveling, so Jody and I wanted to grow a root somewhere and stopped traveling so much. And basically, the restaurant world was just always in our blood. And Jody continued to manage restaurants while I traveled. So we bought a building that was falling down and started actually in a dry town.
Yeah, that's great. So and we'll get into that because Slippery Rock being a dry town didn't make a lot of sense just because there is a college there, so you got to feed their appetite. But so you brought the building out in Slippery Rock, but you came in it with a restaurant sort of background. So you were home brewing, you were brewing, but you had the restaurant sort of feel, which I think adds to your specific spot because now you have the farm to fork sort of initiative that I kind of wanted to touch on because you guys, your food is as good as the beer.
Oh, awesome, man.
And not a lot of places can say that. I mean, you get some run-of-the-mill food, but here you get food that people are invested in as much as the beer. And from what I understand, with the sauces and things, it's a little bit of the brew in there. Like,
right.
How does that work out?
Yeah, we stick beer in everything, actually. But
Most Americans.
Yeah. Now we, my degree was actually environmental geoscience. So part of going back into the restaurant world was being more of a sustainable entity, and
Right.
We have all our spent grains going back to our cattle. All the prep waste from 2 kitchens now go to our pigs, and we bring back meat and produce, and also like lavender for our lavender abbey, heather flowers that we grow on the farm for our heather ale. And so we do pasture to pint as well, and then farm to fork.
So farming, was that a part of your background as well, or is that something that you jumped in and just said, I want the food to be fresh?
Yeah, gardening actually was part of my background, and then I call chickens the gateway animal.
Gateway. Well, chicken is the one thing that everybody eats. Like
Yeah,
it transcends
absolutely.
all race. Everybody eats chicken.
Yep.
Like
It's like the lowest on the food chain.
well, you gotta have chicken. Like why?
Right.
Like people always say, "Oh, black people like fried chicken." Everybody likes chicken.
Right.
All right, no, there's no specific race that chicken. Like you get different type of chicken everywhere, but everywhere you go, if you go out to eat, there's chicken on the menu. There's potatoes. Like
Yep.
those are the 2 things that have to be there because those are the comfortable things. So I've never had a green thumb. Like how'd you get into that?
Yeah, just love being outside. Love
Yeah,
sweating a
different.
beer out actually, and having a beer while I do it.
That's different, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I will ever get to that point in life. Like being outside is cool, but
Right.
being in an air-conditioned climate, a climate where I can control exactly how I feel, maybe walk around with my nipples out without feeling some type of way. Like I don't have to do push-ups today, but I can have my shirt off.
Right.
Toes out, never. I never have my toes out, but at home, every now and again, I don't go straight to the socks.
Yeah.
So I've never had the green thumb, but I've noticed as you get older, especially now with having kids, you do start to monitor the things that you put into your body a little more. You start to appreciate people who put the thought into having not only tasty food but fresh food. And then if it's almost like you're like, yeah, if I can get a beer with this fresh food on the side, like it's great. But the place is it's a brewery / it's a restaurant, but the beer is such high quality
Nice.
that it's like you could go for either thing, and the other thing will be a bonus, or you can go with the joint venture in mind. But
That's
just
where we
go.
wanted like a package. Like if you come in the North Country Pub, then you're treated to our chef's best and our brewer's best, and we're always been lucky to be surrounded by good people actually, and great staff. So over the years, that we've been open, we've always been fortunate that way. Like other than that, like we got 10 fingers and 1 brain.
Now, JD, your position with North Country?
Yes, sir. I help Bob and Jody McCafferty on the social media and public relations side of things.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
You bring them into that new century, the early. Say, I need somebody to help me with that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you guys have an all inclusive. Like you have a good business model. It's
Thanks.
like, all right, at the basis of it, let's have a really good product, and then let's bring on someone who can endear us to how people are consuming products now. Now, with the social media aspect, were you working with something before doing this, or do you just have a relationship with the McCaffertys and decided, hey, I can handle this for you? How'd you get into that role?
Actually, it's really weird how I got into it. I had a friend who was considerably older. His name is Richard O'Brien.
Okay.
And he runs a very successful social media campaign now. He's a motivational, inspirational speaker. But he approached me at one point in time and said, JD, I'm not very well versed in anything. Everybody's talking about iPhones, about this, about that, Facebook. I'm really trying to get my name out here. I want to write a book. I want to get started on that. I'm thinking about how I can market. I said, well, let me give you a hand there, sir. So we started that off, and I ended up doing that for a few years with Mr. O'Brien. Today, he has close to 1 million combined followers between all of his social media
Okay.
pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, what have you. I then took that experience to Andorra Restaurant Group, and they're based out of Swickley, Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
And finally, I made my way to North Country Brewing Company.
Good landing spot.
And yeah, it was great. Actually,
We
It
needed
was-
some inspiration on the social media side of things.
I mean, it's weird. Like, it's something that I battle with in my industry, like in being a comedy industry. Like, the way comedians are now, you would think everyone is like super huge on social media, and that's not how I am. Like, I'm kind of a throwback. I want to hit the stage type of thing, and a lot of people in the craft industry are like, hey, we just want to have that good product, and that's where I am. Like, I just want to have the good product, but you do have to put yourself out there to a certain degree so that people are motivated to consume. And I've always been interested with the few breweries that do have a social media presence. Like, how do you plan, or how do you go about marketing that online? Because it is, it's a drinkable product. Like, and it's not you're not going to be able to have like the glamour commercials or anything like Ciroc, where you got Diddy on a rooftop in Miami with a whole bunch of rappers. You don't necessarily do that with
a music video, maybe.
Yeah, right.
So
I'll do anything.
Whose video would you want to be in? Like, if you could choose one recording artist to have like a bunch of North Country chilled on ice with some models around. I almost said strippers, and I didn't know exactly how you wanted to brand yourself. So you could have strippers in there. I just don't know if strippers like beer on their back. I don't know. We'll find this out. Buzz, we'll go to a club in the area. Just come out, start pouring beer on strippers.
They did do a commercial with local comedians. Tim Ross was in the Buck Snort stuff.
That was you all when they were sitting on the porch, like out in the woods?
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. So you guys are all into the local at all times. I know Dave's going to be pissed that he's not here, because we're big proponents of supporting local. And I think once you get your movement here, your grassroots, by supporting each other here, it can go national, because that is a mindset that resonates with people nationally. Like, everyone to a certain degree is a local business, and then you have the opportunity to be nationally recognized and everything like that. So you guys use local ingredients as well. So you're not just you're farming
seasonally as often as we can.
So what ingredients are like all local? Like,
our chicken comes like within 30 miles of the restaurant, actually. And then, like, the hops and everything. Right now, we actually took a GoPro camera, JD, last August, like right outside of Slippery Rock. Watched filmed the hop being collected off the vine. And then 20 minutes later, it was in our final boil on our brew. So it was cool. It was like like right out of the sunshine into the pot, and then we had a great beer out of that experience. Yeah.
So local with the food, local with the hops. Does a Pittsburgh chicken have black and gold feathers? I need to know that. I'm just wondering what a Pittsburgh chicken looks and tastes
I don't
like.
think
I'm
a
sure it
Pittsburgh
does.
chicken's allowed to have any other colors.
Right.
Did y'all have to like have a black and gold can? Like, you're like, all right, we got to have one can that's black and gold. Have you ever had any issues with like, hey, this looks like the cowboy colors? Any issues with that? Because you guys have beautiful artwork on your cans.
Oh, thanks, man. You know what? Actually, the Buck Snort can won National Can of the Year award in 2015, and that's just a local guy. He used to have a newspaper business, and he still has all the equipment, but he doesn't have the newspaper. And he actually works really well with us, like right next door to the pub on Main Street, Slippery Rock, and designed all these with us, So another little local tie. But 2015 National Can of the Year award, we were like, didn't even see it coming,
Yeah, and there were a ton of submissions there too. So
Right.
So that was a really nice accolade.
And then with the Stinky Hippie actually on the can, he made a horrible Santa at our employee Christmas party, man. I'm serious. Like, we had to kick Santa out, and he made a much better Stinky Hippie.
Forget
actually.
Santa anyway. All Santa do is take credit for stuff you did. That's what Santa's like, a CEO. That's what he is. That's what Santa is. He's a CEO. He's the CEO of Christmas. Like, he don't put in none of the work. He's just the face. He's like the dude from Edgar Schneider and Associates that doesn't represent you on your case, but he's in all the commercials. And I don't know if I could say them because they probably sue us. So that's going to be gone. And we don't have any law degrees as part of this podcast. Please leave us alone. So with you using the local ingredients, are there any flavors or any types of beer that people here locally can get that's specific to North Country that you can't get with other breweries? Any blends?
Yeah, I'd say the Lavender Abbey is definitely all the lavender flowers right from our farm that we grow and then hand pick. And,
Lavender Abbey?
Yep, not aware of another one that's brewed anywhere. And then our heather ale is actually the same way. We grow the heather bush and then pick the flowers and put it in the beer. And it's a nice dry, beer with a little peppery finish, actually. The Lavender Abbey is like, it's actually my favorite one to pass out at beer events because it really is like, that lavender plant has like different varieties. We use the culinary variety.
Okay.
But it seems to have like a mellowing effect on people. And yeah. They want another
mellowing.
one.
So listen, if we haven't sold your North Country yet, drink this and you'll be chill. You won't be like the angry drunk. You'll be chill. Right. Get some Lavender Abbey and just chill out, man. Like I would love to be able to pass out things to get people to chill because I need people to chill all day in life. Right. So that's super awesome. I always liken, I make a joke about this when I talk to brewers. I say the brew game is kind of like the crack game, man. Like it's like selling weed, one, because hops looks like weed, but then you get different strands of hops, and then you have different like specific things to a certain individual you go to. So just learning, because I'm new to craft, the variety and the value in trying the different breweries, because you get different types of brew. You get a different taste of an IPA, a different taste of a stout with this specific brewery. I've thought to be just outstanding. Like, this is dope. We can get into, because you got a decent lineup here, and we talked about a couple, but we're gonna go through our taste test, because I gotta find out what I'm drinking on. Now, I'm right now drinking on the Slimy Pebble Pills.
Yes.
Very smooth. What I read was 5% ABV. The way it tastes to me, it's a beer that can go with any occasion, anything, any day. Like if it's just sunny outside, it's 3:00 and you're like, all right, I want to have a brew. I don't want to start getting hammered. You can have one of these. That's how I view it. Describe the beer, the type, and just how you came into the Slimy Pebble Pills name, because it's not slimy. Like, I'm like, Slimy Pebble Pills. No, this is cool. This is good.
Yeah, that's like when we were naming all the beers, beers are involved. And Slimy Pebble's like a take on the Slippery Rock name. Like the first settlers and people in the area basically slipped on a rock, and so that's why 1%.
How that got named?
1% of this beer actually goes to fight stupidity. It says it on top there, because basically it's like a liability issue. Slippery Rock.
I never knew that's how Slippery Rock got its name. So. I'm never letting my kids apply to Slippery Rock. No offense to the area, but that's just not. I'm like, yo, you can't be named after somebody being goofy. But so the artwork with your cans, do you go to the same individual, or do you spread that through local artists? Or
that's all Brian Pollock, yeah, and
GFX,
right.
All right, good work.
And
I'm gonna have to reach out to him.
And that's actually like what I didn't realize, like that one in the Stinky Hippie. When you're doing recipes for people that want to, like have your beer within their recipe, it's like, this doesn't have that name. That's like, how do you put Slimy Pebble in the recipe?
So Slimy Pebble, Slippery Rock. All right, I get it now. Right. Now I'm with you guys. Like, I'm on board, because again, I'm new to craft. I'm learning. So this says it's a Pilsner, and my understandings of Pilsner are, they're more of the. I don't want to say dominant, but more of the largely recognized brands, they have Pilsner beers. But this has more flavor to it. Like, it doesn't taste like a run-of-the-mill beer that you'll get at any old cookout where somebody brought a 24 case. I mean, if you brought a 24 case of this, I'd be definitely okay with it. But it just has more flavor and pop. Like,
it does. We actually gave each recipe a little nuance over the past year and a half, and we nailed it. And after we nail it, we kind of keep it the same there. And it just, we made it more of a crisp, refreshing Pilsner as the ones that we all, the one that we wanted to grab, actually. And
all right, so I get it, because I'm not the best at reviewing beer, but I feel like we on the same page. The crisp, refreshing, you said that in a more efficient way than that long shit I said before that. Crisp, refreshing, exactly. That's because you the business owner, you got to know how to get straight to the point. So crisp, refreshing,
more importantly, though,
pills.
I'm a beer drinker.
You're a beer creator. Like, you've made your own beer. I haven't created my own. Like, you got to understand how happy people get when they make like a cocktail. Like, when they create a cocktail at home, when they just start throwing ingredients. It's like, you got people over, you don't have quite the sangria ingredients, so you just start throwing fruit and different types of liquor and juice. You're like, oh yeah, this is my special whatever, and people normally die after that. Like, people normally be super fucked up. So you guys got it right. So what do you guys suggest we try next?
Well, let's move down the line here to the Bucko Blonde, and that is a first you have to hear the whole
Uh-oh.
Fizz and pop.
Ooh.
And that's the allure of the can, when it's swishing around the ice, you get the sound and the sight. And then when you go to reach and pop it, it's got that fizz and refreshing.
You've got that salesman mentality. Don't just drink the beer. Let them hear that fizz and pop.
I just love the whole thing about it.
So the Bucko Blonde, what type of brew is this? And I'm assuming this has the name derived from the Pirates. I'm looking at
It does. Donnie Knight is our sales guy, and him and Ray Searage is an awesome guy. A lot of the Pirates come up and have dinner at North Country Brewing Company, and we love it when they're there. We try to, let them have their dinner and leave them alone. But, we just love the connection here with Ray Searage and the whole team. Like with this beer, Ray, his favorite charity actually is Make-A-Wish. So we partnered with him and give a percentage to of the proceeds to Make-A-Wish each year.
So now several of your beers, the proceeds will go to certain charities, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Okay. Now
it makes it fun for us, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be able to not only create a product that people can consume and enjoy that, because I don't think a lot of people get that satisfaction in life where I'm not selling you something. I'm selling you something that comes from my heart and soul. It's something that I'm completely invested in. Like, for example, my day job, I don't know if I'm totally invested in what I'm selling. I mean, I know the value of it. I know the points to hit when I'm trying to sell it to you, but it's not coming from me. It's not my thing. So, I mean, you saying no doesn't hurt me personally, like in that regard. It just hurts me like, damn, I could have sold that and made money off of that. But like for you guys to not only have that personal investment in the product because it is your product, but to also be like, hey, we also have this investment where we're donating to charities. I think that's dope. I mean, with the artwork tied into the beer, with the beer tied into the specific charities, that's pretty cool. Now, Make-A-Wish, who do you think helps these kids with these wishes? Who do you think you think they come up with these wishes on their own?
They do, yeah. The kids do, yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like if kids were coming up with wishes on their own, there'd be a lot of weird wishes going on. Like, it'd be like, yo, I want to see Michael Jordan in a mermaid costume dunking on Ariel.
It
like,
may have happened. I don't know.
Oh, those are the Make-A-Wishes that don't make the 30 for 30? Like, those are the ones that don't get on ESPN. Like, somebody, I forget who made the joke. It was like somebody would have wished that they got to go to a strip club. And I'm like, you know what? There's got to be at least one kid. He may not have said strip club, but he'd be like, I want to go where my daddy goes every Friday night when he comes home stumbling with lipstick on his collar. Like, I want to go with what got mommy and daddy divorced. Like, come on, Make-A-Wish. Y'all give people their wishes, like the exact wish. Don't make them be like, oh, we can't do that. Just whatever they ask for, you got to give to them. And send the kid one of the... No, I won't even say that. So what type of beer is the Bucko Blonde?
Bucko Blonde's like a nice blonde ale, actually. Mm-hmm. And then the can has Ray Searage on there. And in the outfield of the park, you can see our farm animals in the outfield. And then there's actually, we always hide stuff in there, too, like a little streakers by the EPC symbol. So he's running across the field there. And then there's, people in the outfield there that you can pick out if you really look at the can. But, it's just it's a nice, smooth blonde ale. We wanted something that, if you're in the seat watching a good game, and something that's like light and refreshing again, but a little bit more body than the Pilsner. Not it has more of a malt character than the Pilsner does, actually.
Hot summer day at the ballpark. You don't want to get slammed, but you want to definitely make sure you have a couple beers. This works, and if you feel the urge to go streaking, maybe we'll have you dial it back to the slimy pebble. Because that's going to calm you down so that you don't go streaking. And none of your farm animals will be on that field. That grass ain't real.
Right.
Ain't nobody grass in the world that smooth. That's just all natural. I don't believe it. It's a beautiful park. Beautiful beer for a beautiful park. Beautiful foundation, although they should send these kids to the strip club. But I said that. North Country didn't say that. That's a drinking partner. Yeah. A new charity. Yeah. Would you all partner with us, or can we get a special can? Like, what type of beer would you brew for my strip club right charity? Listen, if your kid's terminal and you're like, listen, we gotta, he may not live to see this. Let's give him this experience. I'm trying to think what type of beer I would want from. I probably just had to get my kid vodka. This is terrible. This is terrible. Don't worry. We'll erase your name from all this. It will not interfere with any aspirations that you have. But we'll get through the beers, and then we'll get to that because I do want to touch on that. So we have the Stinky Hippie next.
Yeah, Stinky Hippie is
All hippies are stinky.
this guy has 3 hops in it going into the brew. And then we actually use 4 to dry hop it with. And so we had a Stinky Hippie, and then we wanted to make sure that he was like fresh from a festival, you know. And this one's has a bit more of a kick. The style would be a pale, and that's where the pale ale just came up with Stinky Hippie after that. And again, we had to do something with Santa, so he makes a better hippie actually. And that's a good frisbee tossing beer.
Santa is a hippie.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, he goes to work one time a year.
Pretty peaceful, jovial.
Yeah, well, we say it's peaceful because we're on the internet. We know what he is. we know what's going on with Santa. He ain't that happy with old Mrs. Claus. She probably she's hundreds of years old. Santa is at the strip club with these Make-A-Wish kids. Being a hippie, and he has his own brew to do it. Like, imagine Santa walk in with a case of Stinky Hippies. Like, who wanna drink? Yo, Santa's the man. Get into this Stinky Hippie. Oh yeah, what's the ABV on this?
He's like 5.5.
5.5.
Good. Yeah, I like. Yo, you guys probably get people in trouble.
Oh yeah, I hope not.
I mean, not the negative sense,
right,
but
right.
It the sense that
Well, you're right though. I got blamed for a puppy.
All of the beers that I've tasted so far, you got blamed for a puppy.
I did. Yeah,
That's
because they left the bar and went home, got tucked into a puppy. So.
Oh, okay. I thought that makes sense because I'm like I probably would blame one of my kids on you. Like I was drinking too much Stinky Hippie. Next thing I know, I got the text message of I'm late. I got blamed. They wanted that puppy. Funny story. This is true. We were doing a podcast one time, and like this particular cast, I was drinking. And I don't remember these people. I don't know if they listen to the podcast now normally, but we talked for like an hour about greyhounds. I don't even like dogs, but when you drink beer, you just gonna talk to anybody about anything. Like we had some good beer. I talked about this greyhound that I knew nothing about, so I understand how these people got talked into a puppy. This is dope. So Stinky Hippie, the name, where'd the name come from? Like who? Well, not even that. Who's a part of the naming process? I always want to ask this question.
Actually, the customers and and us actually just customers like Buck Snort. That was just a little 2-point antler handed to me when we were renovating. Weren't even open yet, and a customer walking by, we weren't open yet, just said, "Hey Bob, I thought you might want this antler," and I put it in my tool belt. And later that day, we had the bar framed, so I put my tool belt on there and pulled the antler out and. We were having beers, and I was like, you know what, man, that'd make a nice tap handle. And then a couple more beers, and it ended up becoming a good, like Buck Snort Stout. And and then the slogan was at the end of the night, guaranteed to straighten your antler and warm your dough.
Okay. You
That's
definitely
kind of
turned
by
water
chance.
to wine in that one. Like, I'm a little confused as to what type of place Slippery Rock is where people are just handing out antlers. I don't know if is that legal? Are those technically weapons? Because, the animal could definitely use those as weapons. I don't know if, everybody doesn't have a tap system. So if you handed me an antler, all I could use it for is a weapon. Yeah. I could mount it at the crib, but, if people walked in my house, it was like, seen an antler, it would be very confusing.
Kind of out of place.
Yeah, it would be very. So then I'd have to slide them a bunch of Stinky Hippies.
right.
So they just, I slide them the slimy pebbles so they mellow out and just cool. Don't ask no questions. Don't ask. It's just an antler on the wall. Don't worry. I just like antlers. Did you have to sand the antler or polish it? I mean, what happens to an antler that's just?
I'll never admit to polishing the antler.
You might have to polish an antler. I feel like they are made out of the same material as toenails. And toenails are there too long. They need a little polish. You know what I mean? I would have got a pedicure. Have you ever gotten a pedicure?
No.
You ain't never got a pedicure?
Not yet.
Well, listen, I wouldn't necessarily say to do it, and here's why. Because once you do it, you're doing it. You're not just gonna get a pedicure and be like, all right, that was a one-time thing. You're doing it. You know what I mean? And I'm the type of guy who I always have on socks. I never have my toes out. Anybody who knows me knows my toes are always stashed in the tuck. Man, my mom took me to get this pedicure.
Right?
There's something about having a woman on her knees rubbing your feet that feels really good. I don't know what it now. Mind you, they did start speaking in their own language as we were getting it, and that was weird. So it's me, my mother, and my sister chilling, get these pedicures, and then the three people working on this are having a conversation in their own language. And I was just like, yeah, I don't like that part of it, but if I can just get a pedicure at the house, like, this is just super relaxing. Now, mind y'all, for listening, I almost died this year, so like, I could do whatever I want to do. Like, don't think any less of me, but I'm going back.
Nice. Right.
You get your pedicure, man. But
I know,
don't say
I'm missing out, right?
Have you a stinky hippie
Stinky hippie, yep.
sitting next to you with a pedicure? You can't walk after that. You can't walk after that. Like, you gotta have to be in a hover round to get back to your bed. Like,
Right.
You're not getting up and walking on them feet.
Do you wear sandals after that?
No. Well, see, that's the thing. Again, I don't have sandals. My toes are always in socks, which are always in sneakers. I felt a little weird, like, so I'm gonna just put my toe back. If I put back in this sock after all this, I felt like I disrespected the pedicure. Like, it was all for naught. I put these rough Nike socks back on my feet, but
Yeah,
it
you gotta
happened,
show them
man.
off, right?
See, I could tell y'all this because Dave's not here and Dave don't listen to the podcast. Like, I know so he'll never know. Buzzy will probably tell him no.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You drink too much of this beer, you start getting in trouble. You start admitting things because you just think you only had one.
And his chair starts sounding like a donkey.
Is it me?
That was you.
Is it me?
If you name a beer after his chair, you got to give Epicast credit.
What are you gonna call that one? The donkey squeal.
The donkey squeal.
The hee-haw.
The-
Hee-haw, right on. I like
write
that
this,
one.
Buzzy. Write this down.
We'll tuck that away.
Yeah.
We got to make sure,
think
like, we
Jackass
get
is
credit for
taken.
all of this. Jackass is a little harsh to put on a beer.
It is harsh, yeah.
It is a little. But then again, a lot of people off beer turned into jackasses.
It'd be fun to sit there at a bar and listen to somebody order one.
I think that what would happen is women who get tired of dudes following them around in the club will go to the bar and be like, "Can I get this dude a jackass? The guy in the blue shirt." That's the point about, and that'll be like women speak for don't talk to him. He's a predator. Like, women, we've given this to you now. So you didn't know you would learn a new tactic here on the podcast. There's no telling what's going to happen when there's no co-host. Like, you guys are great, though. So let's get into the Bucks now since we talked about it.
Right.
And that fresh pop, that good pop. I like the color on this.
Yeah, it's a nice silky smooth West Coast style stout.
What makes a West Coast style stout?
Like we do a Stonehouse stout, which is a dry Irish stout, so it's a drier beer. And then the West Coast just has like a load of malt in it, and a little touch of oatmeal, and gives it a silky smooth too. But it's just delicious. Actually, this one goes well. Like if like right now on draft we have a cranberry and blackberry beer, and this guy half and half off the draft is delicious. So it makes a
Cranberry
nice
and blackberry.
Yeah, that's our fruit beer. So actually, when you don't want a whole heavy beer, this is a good one all year round. But and actually popular in Florida for some reason. But beer hunters wanted. We actually had to change the slogan. The TTB didn't want us to put guaranteed to straighten your antler and warm your dough because it would have they said it would have that effect on the consumer, and we're like false advertising basically. So. Through a bunch of different scenarios, like trying to get rid of guaranteed and trying to change it up. It just we just went with, beer hunters wanted.
Listen, I'm not saying it will, but fellas, you getting a couple good, solidly made beers, it might straighten your antler. If you know what I mean. Have a couple. if you're having problems with libido, get you a Bucks now, straighten your antler, and make sure your woman don't leave you. I can say it since y'all can't. What is the TTB?
Tobacco Trade Bureau, and they just they go over basically all our cans we mentioned already, and every can label they go over and make sure it's appropriate.
So that is the name of the entity because you have to submit the names.
Yeah.
And I guess with the names you submit the slogans as well.
Everything.
So anything you're going to put on the can
has to be approved. Yep.
The Tobacco Trade Bureau.
Yep.
Now, what's their feeling on tobacco? That's what, like you, like a dude. If I could tell you, I'm gonna straighten your antler with my beard. Like, I mean, you know that just because I said it doesn't mean it's not true. If it doesn't work, that's a problem with you.
Yeah, it's
if
like
you drinking beer to get your antlers straight anyway, you already in trouble. Like, you can't be looking for beers to save you. But I don't know. I'm not a big tobacco guy, so fuck tobacco.
Right.
Man, I like this. This has a good head on its shoulders, I like to say.
It does.
Gets a good, I think this one is, I can see this one with me in my living room watching the game.
Right.
Because,
Yeah,
after today, I might go grab me some of this because I got to go watch my Cavs play tonight. And I'll just love that Dave's not here because I could go so Cleveland on this. And because you guys are in Slippery Rock, there's no beef.
Right.
Because y'all not technically Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? You are
We
related
love
to.
Pittsburgh, though, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
and that's the thing. Like, when I talk Cleveland, it's not that I dislike Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. I've been in Pittsburgh for a decade. Like, I've been in Pittsburgh my entire adult life. So my entire adult life is based on the city of Pittsburgh, which is a large influence on me. But I grew up, in Cleveland. All of my firsts are in Cleveland. Like, I lost my virginity in Cleveland. So Cleveland's always going to have, like, you could have traveled somewhere for a weekend and lost your virginity. That's the place that you'll want to say you're from. Right. That's where everything, that's where the fireworks went off.
Now, I got to ask you, as a Cleveland fan, how do you reconcile with your hero kind of turning his back on you and then coming back when it was convenient for him?
Well, one thing that I will say is it's a little different in Cleveland than in Pittsburgh, I guess, from my perspective.
Yeah.
Having not lived through the times where Cleveland was up on sports, like
Sure.
where we were up, we were winning NFL championships. I have a different relationship with sports, and especially sports figures. So like Jim Brown, I'm just fucking up names all the Jim Brown, people recognize him as the greatest running back. And a lot of people in Cleveland will say that. A lot of older guys will say that because they grew up, Jim Brown was their guy. I say Barry Sanders. I recognize Jim Brown as one of the greats, and I'm very happy that he's, related to Cleveland in that aspect, but I'm not going to give him the greatest. So I don't have any heroes in sports, what I mean? Because like
with LeBron,
I know with
he
LeBron, I know you're saying about LeBron, but LeBron's not my hero because my relationship with sports was different.
Yeah.
I like the sport, and then I
like the
root for the team that represents my city. In Pittsburgh, they don't give a damn about football. They like the Steelers. And it's a different relationship because a lot of people live through a prominent time. And if you've been a Steelers fan, they've been up for most of your life.
Sure.
They were down in the 80s. You were probably an infant or a toddler. You know what I mean? But even if you were older, you remember the 70s.
Yeah.
And then they were good in the 90s. And then they have 2 championships in the 2000s. You know what I mean? With me, we just got a championship last year. You ain't my hero. I appreciate what LeBron did. And I personally think LeBron is greater to being the GOAT or closer to being the GOAT than most people would give him credit for. But I can't say he's my hero because at the end of the day, I like basketball. And Cleveland just happens to have a team. So I'm always going to go with the Cleveland team.
Right.
But the sport itself, like when we witnessed the Browns leaving. So we didn't have an NFL team, and I still watch the NFL. And then the Browns came back, and they've been a non-factor. So we have a team, but do we really? Like, you know what I mean?
So it's a good thing Pittsburgh doesn't have a basketball team then.
We would probably, I don't know, right now we would beat y'all, but y'all probably, here's the thing about Pittsburgh could probably get a basketball team in the next 10 years, and then you'll have the championship in the next 20.
Right.
There is sort of that, I do recognize that there is that championship sort of legacy here where it's just, certain cities just have that. So I do understand that. I would be super angry if Pittsburgh got a basketball team in 10 years and then got a championship in 20 because I had to wait till I was 30 years old to get that championship. I was 30
we got to leave
old.
Cleveland with something. So
we got our
town.
one.
it's a beautiful city, though.
We love it, man.
It's very similar to so I think the two cities are very similar. Now I think the restaurant scene and I think you guys with your brewery, you're cutting edge in the sense that there's a focus on both. There's an equal focus on both the beer and the restaurant. So it can take part in both resurgences, in the craft resurgence here as well as the restaurant, resurgence. You can be a part of both because the food's great, the beer is great. I don't think the Cleveland restaurant scene is as good here. But they have the craft scene there as well.
They have some good foodie places too, yeah. And yeah, it's just a beautiful city. I love anything, on the lake like that, so much opportunity.
You got to go to the right part of the lake, though.
Right.
And you can't look down at your feet when you're on the shore. Don't look down at your feet. Yeah. Look out on the lake when you're in Cleveland. Don't look right at the shore because it's a dead something. And he's probably been suffocated or strangled by a six-pack carrier. That's pretty much what happens on the shore of Lake Erie. But people fish out there and stuff. Yeah. I think this. I like being from Cleveland and moving to Pittsburgh. It feels like I never left home. And it's just the lifestyle.
Sure.
And now that I'm old, because I feel old, because I like to frequent places like North Country, where it's like, let me find my place. And that's the thing about a Midwestern city. People like to find their place. Like, that's the one thing I remember growing up, and I think it would be the same for you all. You looked at your older male relatives, and they like to drink their drink. Yeah. They like to go to their bar. It's their thing. You go to a New York or L.A., you got to go to the poppin' place. You got to go to the place that's making the most noise, got the most social media notoriety. Yeah. But here, find your place, find your groove, and you have a good life.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And these places are investing more in the quality of the product. Not necessarily just the experience, but what are you taking into your body? What do you I enjoy the Midwest lifestyle. Does that make me old?
Well, it's maybe wise, a little wisdom.
I've been drinking a stinky hippie, man.
Right.
Hippies have all the wisdom.
He's like a sage guru.
Gandhi was a hippie.
Yeah, right.
Gandhi puffed the magic jack.
Did he do that during his fast?
I don't know, because you'd be hungry as hell.
Oh, that's true. Right.
You'd be real hungry.
Yeah, you're just hurting your cause there, huh?
I was gonna go into some. I gotta not say any of my super extreme viewpoints because I don't have a day Bracy to bounce off of this time. Right. Because he balances me out. Because my extreme views
balance here
aren't as extreme as his. Because you guys are representing your company. You know what I mean? Our company's kind of based on us saying random wild shit. So we're gonna do an X-rated version of this podcast where Day listens in, and then Day and I talk about the podcast. So we're gonna have us here doing this podcast, and we're gonna release something where Day and I are just commenting on the podcast. No, we won't, because that's a lot of work for Buzzy. Now the Buck Snout is Snort Stout. I just combined the two words.
Right.
Is that linked to any particular charity or anything?
This one is not, actually.
Okay.
Nope.
But the Firehouse, which we should try next.
Yep.
That is.
Yeah, this guy was actually the first one of the first beers we brewed at the pub location, yeah. And so this guy is still our most popular beer. Would
you consider it the flagship?
I would, yeah, because the guests, the consumers, they all like that one the best still. It's a nice red, Celtic red actually.
Celtic red?
Yeah, it's a Irish recipe actually, and you can see the ruby color come out of the caramel malts.
Mm-hmm. And have a good head on the shoulders.
Yeah, so really beer isn't so different from when you look at coffee and the different. Dark roast, medium roast, light roast.
Okay.
So the spectrum of color actually all comes from the malt. And this guy has a nice caramely, you can kind of feel it right in the middle of drinking them. And so we, lived above the pub, and Jody and I, the first thing we did in that building was put an apartment in. And all night, we heard the volunteers get up and go, an accident or a fire. Every night the volunteers were out there answering the whistle, to whatever was going on. So, we just opened and named this one the Firehouse Red. Give 5% of our draft sales right off the pub to the company, Station 33 company, since we opened in 2005.
Shout out to Station 33.
Yeah, good people.
Absolutely.
Good people. I mean, I don't know if I could volunteer to be a firefighter. No. That's volunteering for danger is not something I necessarily do, but I definitely know that we need them in the society. We need to pay our volunteers, man.
Right.
You know, we gotta come on. Somebody's a firefighter. Like that's a high risk situation. Like it ain't just getting cats out of a tree. I don't even know. I don't even know if a firefighter would actually come to get your cat out of the tree. Like if
these
you
folks
called
would
in,
actually, yeah, they would.
yeah, but you gotta like take a little longer to respond to that call. Like, all right, we be there at 45. Do you show up 2 hours later? Like, is the cat still up there? Because the cat's gonna come down. He's either gonna come down, you know, forcefully, or he's just gonna be like, all right, I'm tired of being in this tree. Like,
Exactly.
bullshit. I don't even think cats go in trees. I don't know
I've never seen it.
now, if your door's open and there's a tree branch right by your window, whatever, and they jump in there, that's your business. Like you know, that's a sitcom.
I think people should get their own cats out of their own trees.
You should. You love the cat. You get the cat out the tree. If your kid got stuck in something in your house, you wouldn't call the firefighter unless it was like stuck in the chimney.
Yeah, right.
Then now you raise a Spider-Man. So how you get how the kid get a chimney anyway? This is good. So like you spoke on color.
Mm-hmm.
Do you correlate like the color of the beer to, I guess, the quality of it? Do you think that there's a correlation between that?
Not
like if
color
you get a
and
good
quality.
if you get a good rich color,
Yep.
do you feel like, I mean, when you first brew a beer and you pour it to drink it and you see a rich color, are you now confident about the taste of the beer?
Yeah, I think the eye always takes the first sip, you know, and like so to meet certain criteria when your beer is going out for a judging, even,
Right.
you know, this fits the criteria of a red ale, but also, you know, the nose and the flavor, also everything about this beer fits that category, that style, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm learning. Like when I'm sitting here and I've said repeatedly that these beers have a good head on their shoulders. You do start to realize, like, when you pouring a beer and it gets that good look, it gets that good head at the top of it. You know what I mean? You're looking at it like you almost get excited to drink it just because of how it looks. And there's a reason why a lot of these larger, you know, more recognizable companies are all in cans or in super dark bottles, because you don't necessarily get to see them, and there's no telling what the hell they probably just look like sudsy water, like sewer water in a glass. But like it adds to the experience. Like this one on a porch watching kids run up and down the street and then judging their parents. That's what I would be doing to this. Like, that's what I would be doing drinking this beer. Judging your parents about how you acted out these streets. I heard you say that curse word to that kid down the street. Also, you guys don't move out of the way. The cars coming up and down the street. We're going to have to call Station 33 to scrape you off the curb. I understand where you guys are when you make... I understand where you are when you make these beers. Now, when you create a beer and you say it's a Celtic red, or do you have an idea of exactly how you want the color to come out?
Yeah, we always have an idea, and you know that's what's neat. Right now, we have a 2-barrel system, a 7-barrel system, and basically a 60-barrel system. So we have a couple pilot opportunities to try out recipes now that don't have to make a huge batch of it, you know.
Okay,
but,
you're starting at 20. If
yeah,
you like the 20, then you go 40, or do you like the 20 and go straight 60?
Yeah, like sometimes we go straight 60 just because we do that, but with our barrel aged stuff. But like these guys actually, like again, this one made its debut in 2005, and again, still customer and guest favorite beer. So it's just it's great whenever you don't have to decide like what flagships you need to pull out, you know.
Well, I mean, I would definitely be confident if I was in your shoes if someone was coming into the brewery not used to it, not familiar with it, to say, hey, try this Firehouse.
Yeah.
One, the pour is going to get them excited because the pour is going to look good. You know, dude slide you that beer and it ain't no head on the beer. You feel some type of way. Like, where's the flavor?
Right.
You know what I mean? But then they slide you with anytime you get good head, it's good head. I get sorry guys, like I get ignorant from time to time, but there's no situation where good head is not positive. You know what I mean? Like beer, you know, relationships, all that, whatever. It's irrelevant. But yeah, I would definitely like have someone slide. It's got flavor, it's got the look, the color. It almost is like you're confident in anything this brewery does when you get the flavor, you know, the pour, the color. Like, what else can you ask for out of a brewing company? So, yeah, hell yeah, this is good as a flagship. Then you slide them the stinky hippie,
Right.
get them introspective and start thinking a lot, because people like to think when they drink. And then you slide them the slimy pebble to calm them down so they can get home.
Right.
You can get the Uber, you can get that right, get the address that they're coming to right, get your destination address correct. You sit in the Uber, you're not going to embarrass yourself. You're not going to end up on taxi cab confessions, none of that. You get home, and you're not really hungover.
Right.
And you had a good night.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make, so we're going to have a commercial that you guys make that can be above ground, and then it's the underground commercial that I'm doing for y'all. So we have one more here.
Oh, yeah. Paleo IPA.
Yeah.
All those pops are good.
That's the tribally pleasing beer.
Tribally pleasing.
Yes.
All right, you gotta explain that one.
That arrowhead on the end of IPA, that was again, like everything kind of ties into a twisted path of story with us. And I did archaeology for a while, and that was my job when I was traveling, actually.
Renaissance man, just a regular Renaissance man. I did archaeology for a while, dude. That's not something that anybody ever says to you.
Bob's very humble. You'll come to realize, you're like, oh, I had no idea you did that. He's like, it's no big deal.
I was the one. I found John Benet Ramsey's bones. I used to do forensic, just for a small amount of time.
Little penance. That's funny, man. Because that's right. It's like, it's kind of crazy. Like, I was talking the other day, and I said projectile point in the cranial vault. I mean, where'd the sentence come from? I haven't used that one for 20 years,
They thought you was drinking the stinky hippie. Like, okay,
right,
so this
right.
dude think he know a lot. He's like, nah, I've been drinking this shit. Oh, this dude got wisdom.
Now that one, actually my trowel that I used to work with made a nice tap handle as well. So, I hung it on the licensing when we finally got our licensing established for the pub, and it just sat there on the frame, So I pulled it down and made a nice tap handle. So that became our first tap handle, and for the IPA, yeah.
So this was the first tap handle you had.
Yeah, that and the buck snort, actually.
Okay.
Yep. And then Station 33 was third because the volunteer fire company gave me some old fire hose nozzles, and that also made a nice tap handle.
Yeah.
So everything's handcrafted up there basically, but and everything has a story. That's what's cool about it. It's like I feel crazy sometimes. Everything has a story.
That creates an experience for the individual. Like, I'm not just there. I didn't just have a good time. I experienced all these things. Right. Like, now I'm intrigued to try this because there's a fire nose, whatever nozzle there. There's an antler on this. I gotta try this.
Yeah,
and you learn something new every time you come in. I mean, and I hear that constantly. I mean, we have folks that have been around since day one, literally regulars for 12 years, and they're still telling me how every time they come into the brew pub, they're still seeing, or noticing something they've never noticed before. And that's true for me, too. I always say I wish I could experience my first time at North Country Brewing Company again, because you're just so in awe. There's no place quite like it as far as the character is concerned. It's just more than coming to sit down and enjoying a meal and a beer. It's every bit as much of the atmosphere as it is the quality of the beer and the food. And that makes our job really easy.
Yeah, that's the advantage of going local.
Right?
You have people invested directly to, if it's not local, there's no telling where this product came from. This person, bringing it to you, they don't give a damn about this Budweiser that they brought to you. You know what I mean? But if it's local, like, these individuals speak to the person who made the beer. They work with the person who made the beer. Like, that pride, that connection, it's there throughout the entire night that you're there. So it's an experience, and when people invest in the visuals on that part, and you can speak to that because you're doing the social media, like, once you get people investing in visuals, that does kind of jumpstart your investment into the product. Things that you said with the eye is the first sip.
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal that.
Nice, right
like,
on.
I'm gonna give you credit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna give you credit. But that is the truth.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
And you guys seem to understand that, and having a story behind each beer is cool. Because like what I've learned being at these craft breweries and going to these spots where you can drink, it's great conversation.
Yeah.
And it always starts between you and your server. And then other individuals will jump in. Next thing you know, I'm talking to this guy at the bar. I'm talking to this young lady at the bar. Now I just came to have, a good beer. And now I'm 3 in. Which I know, I understand the business part of that too. Now I'm 3 in. But it's just a better, I like the crowds that the breweries bring out. They're just, and I'm sure, like you said, you have 12-year supporters. So the patrons that you have add to the beer in the sense of the experience. I'm not going to a bar with somebody stepping on my feet. I just bought these shoes, You're just going to be stepping on my feet because you running around drunk and stumbling. I don't want to deal with that. And these are great places for that. These places like North Country, what are your hours of operation? Are you Monday through Sunday or?
Yeah, we're 7 days.
Okay.
Basically 11 in the morning till
All right, now I
11
can't co-sign anybody being there at 11. But if you're on vacation from work, I got 2 kids, all right? I know about that 11 o'clock sip on vacation. You know what I mean? Like, you at the house, you look around, your lady, she got work this week, your kids is in daycare. You take a sip at 11.
right.
Now, I'm trying to think which one. I would say you want at 11, I would start off with the Firehouse. By 6.
That's a good choice, actually. Yeah.
By 6, I'm with the Tribal, the Pale IPA. I'm with this one here at 6.
Right.
I've moved through. And then I'm gonna do the Slimy Pebble, about 6:30, so I can come down because that's when the kids get home.
Yeah. That sounds like a full day, man.
You gotta plan this out.
You
So you're
plan.
having your preemptive beers before the kids come home.
Well, you gotta have the preemptives before they come home, because then there's a 2-hour window where you all kid. You cleaning, playing, you playing cards, you playing with colors. She drawing you a picture. You watching Moana. Then you gotta get them ready for bed. And then once they go to bed, see, I'm a comedian. I get to then exit the house again.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't understand that advantage of being a comedian.
Right.
As long as everybody thinks it's funny when you leave.
Oh, you leave on a joke. You leave the house on a punchline.
Oh, sure.
You leave you got to land the punchline before you walk out the house.
Right.
But comedy is one of the few endeavors where you can leave the house in a committed relationship or a marriage. You can leave the house at 9:30 and they understand.
Right.
I couldn't imagine just working at an investment bank and on a
sure.
Tuesday night telling my wife I gotta go at 9:30. She was like, hold on, let me holler at you. Where? Where are you going? I get to do that. So fellas, drink North Country and do comedy.
Right. Yeah. I knew you looked familiar to me. I take my mom to the Improv a few times a year, quite a few times a year actually. We try to go once a month, but I've definitely seen you before.
Oh,
So
well, great.
Really
Well,
appreciate
I
it.
hope that you all had a good time with me there. You go once a month.
We try,
That's the patron they're looking for.
I keep my eyes, online and see who's coming. So
Shameless plug. The Drinking Partners podcast. We also do local comedy shows. We have the best lineups that we can construct with the local comedians. So we construct the lineup. We think about the style, how they would fit into a show in relation to the headliner. We have, some of the biggest headliners here in the city. And then we're now branching out to bring in national headliners. So, with Mike Kaplan, he's been on Conan, he's been on Last Comic Standing. He's coming in July, and that's what we're going to try to do moving forward. Is bring in the national headliners so you don't have to go to the Improv and wait for that weekend on that person. You can go to the Improv. We're not trying to take any business away from them. Go to the Improv to see these national comedians, but we got the up-and-comers that we're trying to come in because they're going to get more established people with a track record where you're basically going to a concert. And that's what I think about comedy a lot of times. You're going to a concert. I like this guy. I know these jokes. I want to see the hits. And we're bringing up the up-and-comers. We're going to bring them in town so you can get hip to who's coming next. And you can enjoy, we always have a craft brew sponsor, and we do the BYOB. So it's a different type of event. We definitely, we're going to link up with you all. Man, get something going because
I'd have to, man.
I mean, people sitting and the beers are not overly strong.
No.
And you need that for that type of night.
We have those if you want, but
and then that's what I respect about you all. You have the higher ABV beers, but you don't have to do that, because some people with craft, you're enjoying the beer.
Right.
Like you want to be in your right mind with the beer. You're enjoying it. And also, look, you got 2, 3, 5% in you, depending on what you ate that day. Like if you ain't get the full 3-course meal, yeah,
They get sneaky.
Yeah, they get sneaky.
You always get a generous portion though in North Country. I gotta say,
Okay.
It's very rare that I see anybody clean their plate, so that works to our advantage, sure. But I think it's important to mention too. You know, we always try to do very well to promote responsible consumption. You know, of your beverages, and
That's actually the tag on the Firehouse.
Yeah,
Can,
it
yeah.
makes sense on that
Yeah.
one. Definitely does.
Yeah.
I don't know, because with the Buck Snort style, I don't know what you could put on there, because these deer and all, they just be running out in front of your car. Like it's like it wasn't me.
Yeah, right.
Do people who donate?
And the deer is a liar.
No, definitely promoting that is. I mean, and I'm a big proponent of that, especially considering that I was in an auto accident. You know, you never want anything where your impairment comes into play. I don't know what I would do if I was, you know, just impaired and that happened. Like I would feel so guilty about that. So don't be impaired when you're driving. But you guys create an experience, and again, I go back to your restaurant background. How influential do you think it's been on the experience that you've created at your pub?
Oh, completely. You know, like I love restaurants. They gave me the flexibility to tour the dead and still have a job when I got back. They also paid for 2/3 of my college and all the rent and all the books and all the cars that ran. And, you know, so like actually got me out of a situation with 5 roommates down to my own place. You know what I mean? Like I love.
You always love whatever got you out of the crib with these 4 stinky dudes.
Right.
Get
I
you
love
to your own
restaurants.
spot. Yeah. So
And
you
then-
all. Oh, go ahead.
No, you know, just the whole social thing, man. You know, just we don't have TVs at the first location just because, you know, it is really about communicating. Yeah.
I like that because, like, for example, tonight, if I went to an establishment, I would want to watch the Cavs game.
Right.
And nobody's going to allow me to watch that because they always want to turn to the Penguins.
Right.
So, yeah, just eliminate all TVs. We all suck.
Yeah, none of us can watch
Of us can watch the playoffs. Your sport is no more important than mine. I'm sorry, that's a personal thing. So my understanding is that you work exclusively with cans, no bottles.
No bottles.
And I do the artwork, obviously top notch on these. What brought on that decision, and how has that affected distribution and things like that? Have you looked into going to bottles, or I know what is the new thing, Buzzy? Crowlers,
Oh yeah, the crowler.
which are I guess larger cans. But once you open a crowler, you got to finish it.
We have a sister location restaurant that we opened 3 years ago in Harmony, PA. That's called the Harmony Inn.
Oh, up by day, up near Beaver.
Yeah, a little bit further north, but we have a crowler there, you know, so it gives everybody a chance to. And at that location, we have other Pennsylvania draft beside ours, you know, and so like people come in and they want to try something from the east side of the state, they can just get a crowler, and it's a 32-ounce can, you know, they can take with them. We always have growlers as well, but sometimes people want to give a gift, you know, and not sure when they're going to open it, kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, like cans though, the whole thing, Oscar Blues did, you know, open that up, and the marketing for, you know, cans and actually bottles was so hard to go towards the bottle for so many years. Cans like are actually the most beer friendly packaging you can have. It's you know, no light can get in that can, no oxygen gets in that can because it's sealed. Actually, if you drop, you know, a bottle, you're trying to clean up glass before your dogs walk through it. But if you drop a can, you can actually save most of your beer. So it's just like cans have like, you know.
That is that's very wise. It's also kind of a wino type of mentality. So I respect you.
That's the line I cross. Yeah, the line I walk.
It's like
Wise wino.
yeah, you could, you know, you don't have to clean up glass, and that's cool. But the biggest advantage is you get to keep most of your beer if you drop a can. Like that's
Can't lose your Mad Dog.
that's true.
Absolutely not.
Or you could just throw cans in the yard and let your dog play with them.
Yeah, right.
If you could,
Right.
like the people who were listening to me talk about that Greyhound that one day, I wonder if they let their dog drink beer. Do they put a little shot of beer in the water? You know, just
It is an energy drink.
boom. You're a salesman through and through. You're a salesman through and through. So I want to ask. So at when did you become? Because we always touch on this. When did you two become interested in the craft beer? Were you like Day and myself who were drinking like just cheap beer at first? You know, we were in college, just drinking beer. I don't know what it's like with the archaeology crowd in college. You know,
Yeah.
they might be a little snooty. They might be all craft. But generally, other majors, we go through the cheap Natty Ice, Milwaukee's Best.
I've had them all. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, at what point do you get introduced? Did you get introduced to craft? And then at what point, you know, you were brewing, but did you decide, hey, I want to be in this realm of it because this is a more quality situation?
Right. I grew up just north of Pittsburgh in Butler, you know, PA.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we had field parties and we partied all the time. It was fun. And, you know, like actually imports were the beer we all gravitated towards. And, you know, we didn't really have the pocketbook for that, but we, you know, liked the flavor and liked the imported beers. You know, Guinness, Newcastle, Brown, all those guys, love them, you know, still. And that's where I'm kind of a horrible critic because I like everything, you know, and,
Okay.
yeah, so you know, I love Yingling. I love, now that I'm more into the craft scene, I love all beers and I love, like, Yingling family is great, you know, what they represent is great. And, so actually I remember, we all got more than $2 together for Penn Brewing when they opened up the first time, you know, and, you know, on this side of the Mississippi, that was like the first craft brewery in our area. And, so it's just great, you know, the whole experience.
Okay. I mean, I'll say this. I won't say I love everything, but everything has a lane. You know, Yingling has a lane.
Yeah.
And it's not a terrible beer, but Yingling for me is a night where I ended up out drinking. I didn't go out to drink. I ended up out drinking. So it's like, all right, look, I'm not trying to get drunk, and I'm not trying to spend a bunch of money because you can always find a Yingling sale in Pittsburgh.
Right.
They're always $2.50 in Pittsburgh. So yeah, I don't dislike Yingling, and I don't dislike a lot of beers. But once you get into craft and you see what it can be, your perspective changes.
And
you know, Budweiser for me, because my uncle used to drink Budweiser all the time. And I had a jaded perspective because he was drinking 40s of Budweiser. But then you get older, you start going to cookouts, and your friends start having their own places to live. Budweiser, stuff like that, that's the thing that's there because you can get it in mass quantities. But now that I'm drinking craft, I'm like, listen, instead of buying 48 Budweiser, how about everybody bring their own case of Good John? We'll have all this, you know, if everybody came with a 12-pack of North Country, for example, we would have a much better experience drinking. We probably wouldn't drink all of them that night because, you know, with that experience, you're savoring the flavor, and, you know, a lot of times with the local crafts, you're getting a higher ABV, so you don't have to drink as many. And you're much more appreciative of the experience you're getting. It just lends itself to that experience. They try to build these larger companies up as experience builders or adders too, but no, they don't add to your shit. It's just something that you just feel like you have to have. That's why we say go local. Get your local food, get your local drink, all that, man. Get that stuff local.
Yeah,
like you guys are definitely carrying that torch, and I see a lot more of the breweries that they're going into being local, like the craft breweries. They're investing in local. They're adding to the scene. They're adding to the experience here in Pittsburgh, and I appreciate you guys for all of that, man. Like,
thanks, man.
This beer that I've had today, like, you know, I'm going to blame you for the baby that I'm going to have in 9 months. I'm definitely going to blame you for that. Like, I might name...
Stinky hippie baby.
I'm trying to think, because my last name's Bailey, so I'm looking at the Bucko Blonde and figuring out how I could be Triple B like a Big Baller Brand, like LeVar Ball. My son, Big Baller Blonde. I don't know. Like, I just don't want my son to have blonde hair, but if it's... Oh, man.
That's the one we got to have in a music video.
Yeah, right.
Big Baller Blonde.
Big Baller Blonde. So what? Like, Big Baller Blonde. There's no telling what my son, my third child. I did want to touch on something before we got out of here. JD, you're running for mayor of Slippery Rock.
Yes,
One,
sir.
I want to
Yeah.
shout out Marita Garrett. She just won mayor of Wilkinsburg
Nice.
here in Pittsburgh. That's dope. It's really good to see younger individuals investing into like their time into politics, because me being a 31-year-old, there wasn't a really huge focus on local politics. And local politics, they affect you. What you learn and you don't realize you're learning when you're taking social studies and all that is, yeah, there's these overarching federal mandates, but then they get more specific, more restrictive as you get closer to your level. And local politics will affect you more than any federal mandate, and we don't invest into that. One, I want to ask, how did you end up getting into politics? And two, how have you seen legislation affect the brewery industry? I know we have the first. I don't want to say it's I don't know how to describe it, but basically there's a liquor store that's opening that's not wine and spirits, which is dope, and that it shows progress.
Yeah.
And a lot of the brands that he will feature will be local craft or local-ish craft. So one, how did you get into politics?
Yeah.
Two, how have you seen it affect the industry, and how do you take that knowledge and add value to?
I'm going to
your
answer those
country?
questions in opposite order there.
Okay.
As far as the legislation is concerned, I mean, Mr. McCafferty and North Country Brewing Company have been very proactive in, going to places like Washington, D.C., in our nation's capital, and even Harrisburg.
Okay.
And, making their voice be heard as far as their concerns for, legislation that is affecting the industry. And I think it's really noble, honestly, because, the thing about craft beer, 99% of the time, of course, I mean, these are, local businesses. These are small businesses, small business owners. And so, Mr. McCafferty is certainly been a great asset in being an advocate for small business owners, and particularly, of course, in the realm of craft brewing. So there certainly has been there have been some decisions, as far as legislation is concerned, that make things harder for small business owners. But I'm proud to be part of a company that's vocal and that has a leader that's willing to carry that flag, carry that standard, and say, hey, this isn't right. You're really coming down on the little guy.
Right.
And it's even nice too, as an employee of North Country Brewing Company and of Mr. McCafferty here, that he cares enough to be vocal like that, because at the end of the day, it reminds me and it reminds those of us who work for North Country Brewing Company that that Bob really cares about the folks who depend on him and his enterprise. So we're very much a family. So I love that. Now, as far as getting into politics are concerned, I've always been politically charged, I'd say. I did spend some time in the United States Marine Corps, so naturally being a veteran.
The proud.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Naturally being a veteran, being a member of the U.S. military, everything that goes on in the realm of politics, of course, affects you in some way, right? Everything. Where you're going, how your pay and benefits are concerned, absolutely everything. So I've always kept my ear to the ground in that sense. Coming out of the military, the question for a lot of veterans is, how do you continue, service? You go from serving on this national and even global scale, right? So I went to Afghanistan, so I'm serving not just my country, but we're doing a lot of good across the world. We did a lot of good for the people of Afghanistan, at least in my experience. And so coming out of the service, a lot of veterans struggle. You say, how do I continue service, right? So the most logical thing for me was, well, why not continue service then on a local level? And, going back to North Country Brewing Company, because I don't want to shadow North Country, because that's what we're here to talk about. I'm really proud to be a part of an organization like North Country because it's so involved in the local community and gives so much back to Slippery Rock. It's really been a leg up for me in that I can say, that I am a community servant, and I am still very much in the realm of service by working as a North Country employee because of its involvement in giving back to Slippery Rock and to Harmony too, of course, because Mr. McCafferty has a sister restaurant, the Harmony Inn there. So he's been, taking a lead role in giving back to that community as well. So coming back to me, of course, I look at the things that Bob and Jody do through their enterprise for the local community, and it's inspired me in a lot of ways. But what's really weird is that, nobody really asked me to do this. I just one day I said, I think I want to throw my hat in the race here. There are a lot of things that are bothering me. I'm a homeowner in town in Slippery Rock. I live just a couple blocks away from the brewery.
Oh, so you in a prime location?
Yeah, sure, sure, right. But I'm alumnus of the university as well. So I'm a homeowner there. I've been educated there in that community, and I'm an employee of the second largest employer in the community. And the first largest employer, of course, would be the university. But as far as actual businesses are concerned in that community, North Country Brewing Company takes that title.
Nice.
Well, that's huge. That is not to be understated. Like, that's big. I mean, if your only competitor as far as employment of residents is a university,
Right.
then you're doing something right.
Right.
So you guys definitely support, and well said on your part. Like, not to get too much into your mayoral platform, but just I think one thing that's cool about you and the candidates that are coming up younger, you humanize that type of position for younger voters. You humanize it. Like, hey, I work at a brewery. I don't promote anything negative out of it, but I am a human. I am of this community, and this particular company, North Country Brewing, is a large part of this community.
Yeah.
And so I just want to applaud not just you, but obviously North Country just for being, what you are as far as just, spearheading the community type of aspect of brewing. Just saying, hey, I get my ingredients. I feed this community. I feed you not only good food, but I feed you good drinks. So I've had a great time. We need you to do your job a little bit, as we can say. Yeah. You got to let the people know where they can find you.
You got it. Absolutely.
Right. Where they can find North Country.
Sure.
Yeah,
We're
JD.
working on it. I mean, first I want to thank everybody, actually, for their tremendous support. I think that I'm in line with Mr. McCafferty and with Jody McCafferty, of course, when I say that we're very grateful to have such tremendous support from not just the local community, but from the entire tri-state area. Actually, it's really neat to see that so many people can come together, and share that sense of community at a place like North Country Brewing Company, and be a part of a community despite not actually being from, our home of Slippery Rock. It really, truly is a family. And again, I'm very lucky to be a part of that family. And I think that would be a true statement for everybody that is under the North Country umbrella.
Yeah.
So it's really funny because I got to say that folks always say, you have a great job. I would love to come work in North Country. But I always say, you're going to have to wait till somebody dies because nobody's willingly going to leave. And that's true. I mean, we have folks that have been with you since day one, sir.
Day one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you know you got a good job.
Right.
When older people don't want to leave, like nobody's going to retire.
No, nobody wants to leave.
Nobody's going to retire. They're just going to die on the payroll.
Even more interesting is most of our employees are college educated too, and that remains true for myself. But I'm not leaving this company,
I mean, the thing about college doesn't necessarily lead you to a certain type of life anymore. Right. Like it leads you to, you have these ideas and you understand how things work. That's what you're going to get out of college, like a better understanding of how the world works. And that's not specific to any industry. Like these things, this networking, this feeding the people what they want to have, like that resonates in any industry. And there's nothing wrong with being college educated and working at a brewery. Like the stigma's gone. Like everybody's trying to be employed, either self-employed or be employed with a company that you feel like you add value to. You feel like, you're a part of the culture. Yeah. So you're a testament to that. I just need you to let the people know where they can find, the brewery, in Slippery Rock, obviously in the new sister location in Harmony Ridge. And if you have any social media, let them know where they can find you guys so they can look at this good head y'all putting out there.
Please, sure. We have great presence on social media, so please follow us, North Country Brewing Company, North Country Canning Company, and the Harmony Inn. We have pages on all three, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter there. You can find us online at northcountrybrewing.com. We have a beautiful website built there, and you can reach all three of our enterprises through that website. And as far as where you can find our product, you can find us, I'm proud to say, all across the state of Pennsylvania now at this point. So from Pittsburgh to Erie to Philadelphia, Scranton, Harrisburg.
His hometown as well.
Excellent.
We got a decent craft scene.
Yeah,
so if
sure.
you're in Cleveland, you won't miss out.
Yeah.
We'll
have
follow you with beer. Let us know when you're doing your routine up there.
And speaking of Cleveland, I mean, you can find us in Cleveland too, in Columbus.
Yeah.
So really spreading our hands out, so to speak. And I think what's coolest about this is, despite the rapid growth, and I tell people, this when I'm giving tours at our production facility. We do free tours. North Country Canning Company. It's on Arrowhead Road. It's just a half a mile away from the brew pub
Yeah, go
in
get
Slippery
and
Rock.
see what's happening. See
yeah.
the process of
Sure.
the beer, because it'll add to what you're doing. It only adds, if you can see the process of anything that you're ingesting, it only adds.
Right.
It never detracts.
And that's 12 to 4, by the way, on Saturdays. So
12
from noon
to
to
4 on
4,
Saturdays.
please come and visit us. And but what I tell folks on those tours is, because they're in such awe of the production facility, because it is very impressive. You have this towering equipment.
Shiny objects.
Yeah, shiny objects. There you go.
Always impressive.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Americans.
So, but I always tell them, I'm always sure to say that despite this impressive growth, that it very much has remained. North Country's very much remained true to its identity, and that since day one, you have Bob and Jody that are just as much involved in the company now as they were when they first were, getting it off the ground 12 years ago. And so that's what makes North Country really special. Despite that large growth, it hasn't sacrificed quality or its integrity to reach quantity.
That's huge.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
huge to say. So I want to thank you guys. We got Bob McCafferty and JD Longo here from North Country Brewing. I've had a good time.
Awesome,
You guys,
man. Thank
you
you.
guys are very easy to interview, because this is the first time I had to do this by myself. It's very easy to interview you guys. Make sure you stop by North Country out Slippery Rock, or if you're closer to Harmony, stop out there, or go to any local distributor and get the beer. It's good as hell. But if you want the food, you got to go to the brewery. This was the 123rd episode, and it was properly the LeBron James episode, because he came back home. He came back home and invested in his town, in his, well, sort of, because he's from Akron, but we'll take him.
He's Ohio native. It's
we'll
cool.
claim him. You know what I mean? Invested in the economy, brought some good product to the city, and that's what you guys are doing. You're the LeBron James of the craft brew industry. This is Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at Partners Pod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play. We are Googleable at Drinking Partners. I am Ed Bailey. Dave Bracey is out on vacation, but he's jealous because he didn't get none of this beer today. Drinking
leave him
Partners
some.
is the nah. We ain't leaving him nothing. Anything left? If y'all
it's
leave it
going
behind,
on.
take it to the crib. All right. So as always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family, and we out here. Well, I had to, like, that's like, I'm gonna have
The full cans will look better than the tabs up. Never say. But I'll bring the lights in after we're done today and fix them.